Ah, look at you, sitting there, unaware of the storm you've unleashed just by existing, just by breathing, just by being the name that drips from their lips like venom and gold. Your name, it's not just a name. No, it's a spell, a curse, a wildfire that spreads through whispers and turns devotion into obsession, allies into traitors and shadows into relentless ghosts. They talk about you, constantly. Your name is fuel in the mouths of the desperate, the envious, the unhinged. They swear their loyalty even as they sharpen their knives. Who's near you? Who's feeling your heat? Who's getting close enough to touch the fire? They need to know. They have to know, because your name doesn't just linger in their thoughts. It owns them. And the best part? You never asked for any of this. Most people chase attention, scream for recognition, beg to be noticed, but you don't have to lift a finger. Your presence alone sends tremors through their world. Your existence alone dismantles their peace. You are the craving they can't suppress, the fixation they can't escape, the name they can't erase. They tell themselves it's just curiosity. I just want to check. I just happen to see. Lies. They track your every move because they are powerless to stop. You are their sickness, their addiction, their silent undoing. They lurk, they pry, they fabricate stories in the dark, spinning illusions they desperately wish were true. And that is power, but don't expect them to admit it. Oh no. They'll scoff, roll their eyes, pretend your name doesn't send electricity through their veins, but you see it, you feel it. The weight of their fixation, their fury, their need to possess what they can't control. You are the center of their orbit and it eats them alive. The real agony? They don't own you. They can't pin you down. They can't leash you. And nothing terrifies them more than the thought of losing you to someone stronger, someone braver, someone who sees you for what you truly are, who gets to stand beside you, who gets the privilege of your presence, who has the audacity to embrace the fire and not burn. And this is where their madness begins. They battle, they scheme, they tear each other apart, fighting not for you, but for the mirage of you they've crafted in their minds. The illusion of ownership, the fantasy that they ever had a grip on something as untamed as you. And you walk away, unbothered, unshaken, untouchable. Because this is your world. Let them watch, let them argue, let them drown in their own paranoia, let them combust in their own envy. At the end of the day, you keep moving forward, uncaged, unfazed, unstoppable. A storm never asks permission to rage. A wildfire never seeks approval before it burns. And you owe no explanations to those unraveling themselves, just trying to figure you out. They whisper, they pry. Where were you? Who had your time? Who touched your skin? They will never ask you directly. No, they'll lurk in the shadows, clawing at scraps of information like desperate scavengers, terrified of the truth they might find. And the more they chase, the further you slip away. The more they crave answers, the less you give. You move in silence, leaving behind only the echoes of your existence. Just enough to keep them hooked. Just enough to make them ache. And that is power. Because they're not fighting over you, no. They're fighting against their own weakness, their own insecurities. They wage war not because you belong to them, but because deep down they know they were never strong enough to hold you. They will destroy friendships, burn bridges, tear their own lives apart, just to feel like they still have a grip on something that was never truly theirs. And when the dust settles, when the last ember of their obsession fades, you're already gone. You never begged, you never waited, you never gave them the chance to catch up. You are not a prize to be won, not a possession to be claimed. You are the fire that warms those who respect it and consumes those who take it for granted. So let them crumble, let them spiral, let them self-destruct in their own torment. Because you keep rising, you keep thriving, you keep building a life they are no longer part of. And when they finally realize that their obsession cost them everything, that's when the real suffering begins. Because nothing haunts them more than the realization that while they were watching you, you never looked back. And there it is, the breaking point, the moment where fixation mutates into regret, where every whispered scheme and desperate attempt at control collapses under the weight of their own delusion. They thought they had time, thought they could mold reality to fit their desires, but the truth? It's a cold, merciless blade against their throat. You never belonged to them. You never hesitated, you never even paused. Now they sit in the ruins of their own making, suffocating under the weight of every mistake that pushed you further away. While they were busy plotting, while they wasted breath on battles they were destined to lose, someone else already stepped in. Someone else already touched the fire without fear. Someone else already heard the words they will never hear again. Someone braver, smarter, stronger, claimed the space they thought was rightfully theirs, and that destroys them, because it was never about love. It was never about you, it was about control. About making sure that no matter how far you wandered, you would always be close enough to crawl back when they snapped their fingers. But they played the game too recklessly. They wasted too much time. They thought jealousy alone could chain you down. And now they are forced to watch as you soar without them. They have to witness someone else experience the version of you they were too weak to handle. And that truth, it devours them. Because now, they can't just lurk from the shadows, can't just argue, can't just play their mind games. No, because now, it's over. They are nothing to you. Names without meaning, faces without emotion, memories that no longer sting. And the worst part, they know it's their fault. So let them suffer. Let them drown in the silence you left behind. Let them spiral into the abyss of their own making. Because now, every battle, every desperate act of control, it was all for nothing. You are gone, unreachable, unstoppable, and all they can do is watch, from a distance, in the dark, forever. And that is the true punishment. Not being forgotten, but being remembered in the wrong way. They thought they could trap you in their web of jealousy, manipulation, and mind games. But now, they see the truth. The ice-cold reality slithering up their spine like a slow, venomous whisper. You don't miss them. And that destroys them. Because the greatest revenge was never anger, never vengeance, never retribution. No. The greatest revenge is your silence, your indifference, your relentless, unstoppable evolution. While they rot in the same toxic cycle they tried to cage you in, they ache for a reaction. They crave a flicker of emotion, a sign that they still matter, but instead, they are met with nothing. And that is the wound that never heals. Because now they realize it was never you who needed them. It was always them who needed you. But silence is louder than any scream. And your absence, it's a gaping wound that time refuses to heal. They thought they had control. Thought they had a grip on your mind, your emotions, your choices. But control was always an illusion. And now they sit there, hollow, restless, haunted by the weight of everything they can never undo. They check their phone, again and again and again. Their hands twitch, their chest tightens, their mind spirals. But nothing comes. No message, no call, no desperate return. Just the deafening void of their own mistakes, circling them like vultures. They convinced themselves you'd break first, that you'd come crawling back. But now they understand the bitter truth. You never belonged to them. Not your time, not your loyalty, not your heart. And that realization, it crushes them. Because they didn't just lose you, they lost the chance to ever have you again. They lost the version of you that once cared, once listened, once entertained their endless cycles of manipulation and mind games. But that version of you is gone, dead, buried beneath every betrayal, every lie, every twisted attempt to keep you shackled to their insecurities. Now, all that's left is the ghost of their own obsession, tormenting them at every turn. Because while you move forward, glowing, thriving, untouched by their chaos, they remain frozen, trapped in the past, drowning in the agony of their own design. They stare at your life from a distance, watching you become everything they swore you'd never be without them. Watching you succeed, watching you smile, watching you love again without them. And that destroys them. Because deep down, they never wanted you to move on, never wanted you to heal. They wanted you to stay wounded just long enough to return to them. But you didn't, and now they are nothing but echoes in the corridors of your past. A name that once held weight, now reduced to a whisper you barely remember. And that is where the suffering truly begins. Because now they aren't just losing sleep over you, they are losing themselves.